Welcome to the Abolitionist Roundtable with your hosts Del, Phil, and Janice. Come on in and take a seat. You're invited to join the roundtable. Call 734-822-1600 to get into the conversation. And now, your hosts, Del Marsh, Phil Stargell, and Janice Daniels.
And good morning. This is Phil Stargell of the Abolitionist Roundtable, and we are on the air with a great show for you this morning. The promo says Phil Stargell, Del Marsh, and Janice Daniels. Janice Daniels is on assignment this morning, and she will not be in the studio, but maybe she'll give us a call. But Del and I will persevere and trudge on and give you some good information. I think I've got something that everybody should take a real serious look at. You know, we have Hillary Clinton as the front runner, and she has done some things in the past and have gotten away with it before, and looks like she might slither out of this without the appropriate punishment. But before we get into the agenda, I'm going to ask co-host Del Marsh to say hello this morning and give our audience, the fastest rising audience in Southeast Michigan.
And it is. This is the fastest growing audience right here on the Abolitionist Roundtable. Phil, with me and you are so thankful. You know, Phil, next month it'll be 4 years.
4 years.
4 years.
4 years.
Absolutely. That we've been here, and we have just had an outpouring of love here and with the Wham family. So. And a Wham audience. So, yeah, we're very much appreciative.
And I believe with good reason, because every week we come on and we bring information. Now, what people do with that information is up to them. But at least you know, I mean, we were probably at the forefront when we were on the air at the 4 o'clock hour, and we were telling people that we were headed for a disaster with the election of Barack Hussein Obama. And we have seen absolutely nothing yet. And if we allow this country to make the mistake to elect Hillary Clinton, we don't have a country, because we are just about this far from not having a country now. And, you know, we know that if you don't have borders, if you don't have a way to control what goes on within your borders, you have no country.
Yeah.
And we certainly need to look at that. There are some people that think that they know the way to secure that border and start to thin out the hordes of illegal trespassers that have crossed into this country. We have no idea how many people are here. And how can you realistically hold it in an honest election when this is what the people in this country have been fooled into believing, that the right to vote is the most sacred of the constitutional rights? No, the ability to control your own destiny is the most important right that you have. And that means your economic future and your political, the way you deal with the government. And that's what the political part of this is. The government wants to control you either by force or by coercion. And they are doing a good job with the coercion, so they don't need to use force. But they will use force, and it's evident in the decision to put the lady in Kentucky. What's her name? Well, anyway, I'll have it in a minute. But that decision to put her in jail shows you just how willing the government is to use force to make you do what they want you to do. and no country can survive if they don't have some way to have people that will object to the wrong direction of the country.
You know what, Phil? Let me just point out before you get into, and you said a lot that's very important, but Barack Hussein Obama, when he had Eric Holder as his attorney general, he told him not to enforce the marriage protection laws
Exactly
that was
right.
already on the books.
Exactly right.
And so, if I'm not mistaken,
And contrary to their oath of office and the Constitution.
Absolutely. So when they say that this lady violated the law of protecting what was by the 5 people in the robes that were unelected, wait a minute. If I'm not mistaken, Kentucky, just like Michigan, because I want to say for the people here in Michigan that are clerks, remember that the people of Michigan voted to protect marriage as between a man and a woman. The people, so when those people in those 5 robes made that decision, what they did is they nullified, they stole, they took away our vote.
Exactly
and so
right.
in Kentucky, if I'm not mistaken, they had their own Marriage Protection Act too, that the people voted for. So what she was doing was she was standing not in opposition of the law, but she was standing for the law that this state had already put on the books.
Well, yeah, and here's the other thing. They have made accommodations all over the country for people to be able to have somebody else, in one case right here in Toledo, a judge over there did, because of his religious convictions, he did not want to marry the homosexual. And so they allowed him to rotate out of that assignment when that came up, and so, but the lady in Kentucky, they determined that she had to follow this new law, even though the law and the legislature, the Kentucky legislature, was not in session. They had got to change the law, so she doesn't even know what the law is, and there's no way that she should be forced to just do things against her religious conviction, and it's not even formally a law, because the Supreme Court, they just overruled the state laws and stuff like that.
Overruled it and took away our vote.
But they still have got to write what the law actually is, and they said that they were not. The judge said that she was not putting her in jail because she didn't marry the homosexual. She was putting her in jail because the courts had made the ruling, and she would have to follow that ruling. But what is the ruling? So that's why the law is illegal, because they have no business writing laws anyway.
That's right.
The judges have, and this is the whole thing of it. There is no reason for the clerks around the country to be following these laws, because they're a hodgepodge. Nobody has any kind. They want to make it all uniform, but there actually isn't any law. They just said, okay, this is legal. This is the law of the land.
You're right. That's a good point. That is what they did. They didn't write a law because judges don't write laws in the first place.
Right. They shouldn't be anyway.
Absolutely. And so you're right. So what are you following? All they saying is that it's just legal. That's all they were saying. You're right.
So here's where we are right now. Donald Trump said that he would like to figure out a way to take away the anchor baby situation, right? And that is another law that was written by judges. And what they have done is they made it so, what we are operating on is mostly executive orders from the presidents that are in control, and agencies that are doing it. The defining laws have never been written by Congress on that subject. It is time for the Congress to do it while we have a majority in the Congress and in the Senate. If we get the president, Donald Trump, or in my case, Scott Walker, or Ted Cruz, all of these people would be the executive that would allow this law to be passed and carried into law. But guess what? You can bet your bottom dollar that Supreme Court will come in and knock that law down. So here's what the situation is. There's a clause that says the Congress has that authority, and they can write around that Supreme Court. The Congress shall have power to make all laws which shall be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the foregoing powers and all other powers vested by this Constitution in the government of the United States or any department or officer thereof. That tells you right there. It's Article 1, Section 8, Clause 18.
Yes.
That's the authority that gives the authority to the Congress to write the laws and write the Supreme Court out of that decision.
Yes.
And if they would just stand up and do their job, we could end this nonsense of the Supreme Court overruling things like constitutional amendments that put forth where a man and a woman should be what marriage consists of.
Yes.
Those are the kind of things that that our people, our elected officials have been derelict in their duty, and we need to hold their feet to the fire and make them write these laws and do it, and then tell the Supreme Court, go pound sand.